Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. This is my workstation. Actually, that is a lie. This is not my workstation. This is a cutting board with a piece of white paper put over the top of it in an attempt to make what I do next show up on camera. My actual workstation is a ruddy mess. But today, what I thought I would do, I thought I would do a very quick video showing how to assemble one of the easy build Death Guard miniatures from Games Workshop. These are the miniatures that appear in the First Strike box set, and also they come with several issues of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine. The frame retails also individually. You can buy it for £10 from Games Workshop, or slightly less online. Easy build miniatures do not require glue. All you really need are some snips to get the pieces out of the frames. Oh look, I'm showing you a base. I'm actually narrating over some footage I shot earlier, so I may surprise myself with what comes up. Oh look, clippers! Yeah, so these are the clippers that you need. This is really the only tool that you need in order to get the miniatures out of the sprues. They are side cutters. There you can see they are flat on one side, so that you can get up nice and close to the miniature and snip it out without damaging the miniature. However, for this video, I'm also going to be using some other tools. I'm going to be using plastic glue, because even with easy build miniatures that go together without glue, I do recommend glue. I also have a sharp knife, which is for removing mold lines and things like that. And finally, these are the instructions. These are the instructions that came with Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine, and we're going to build Plague Marine Boo Box. When you look at Games Workshop instructions, you will see that they are numbered. Those numbers represent the parts on the sprue, but also the order in which those parts should be constructed. So you put together parts 7 and 8 before you put together parts 8 and 9. Pretty simple. And if we look at this frame, you can see that there are some numbers actually printed onto the frame, molded into the frame. So you need to locate those, and those will tell you which parts you're going to cut out. But there they are. So, as you can see, I'm getting up close to the miniature with the side cutters, with the flat edge of the side cutters, and just snipping them out. Being careful not to actually cut the miniature itself. Some of the dainty bits on miniatures, you could potentially accidentally cut them off if you're not paying attention, so just be aware of that. There you go. He's free. So at the moment, all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the two components that I need for the first stage of the assembly. I find it's better to work through an assembly guide, cutting out the parts as you need them. If you cut out all the bits in advance, you may forget, especially with larger builds which have more components, you may forget which part is numbered, which part has which number, basically, and you can get yourself in a bit of a pickle, assemble things in the wrong order, that sort of thing. So I tend to do exactly what the instructions say and take out the pieces as I need them. Now, you can, at this point, you can see there's a peg system with these easy build miniatures. This is how they go together without glue. One part has two holes in it, the other part has two pegs on it, and those are designed so that you can just push those pegs directly into the holes and they will hold together. But what I have found a lot of the times with easy build miniatures is that you can't always get a really flush fit. So what I do is I actually trim the pegs. This is also something that's worth doing if you pre-spray the miniature before assembly. If you actually base coat the miniature on the sprue, the extra bit of paint can make it the pegs more difficult to fit into the holes because they're already quite a snug fit. So I always trim off the end of the pegs, and it doesn't matter if that therefore is going to result in a slightly looser fit, because as I've said earlier, I'm going to be using plastic glue to hold this miniature together anyway. So, simple process, a drop of glue in each of the holes that the pegs are going to go into. I don't worry about putting glue anywhere else, but just a couple of drops in the holes, and that will hold it together. And because the pegs have been shortened, it should just clip together nicely, and you should get pretty flush fit because they are incredibly well tooled. Games Workshop miniatures are top notch in that regard. But there you go. Look, he's gone together, and when I give him a squeeze, you can see that is a really flush fit. And there's enough glue in the hole that it will hold those pegs, so we get a good result. But there are also, as you can see, two more pegs on this particular miniature. There's a peg where the arm will go, and there's a peg for attaching the backpack. So I'm also going to trim those now. So again, I'm not taking off a lot of the peg, just a little bit. And I find that means that if the pegs are a slightly tight fit, it just gives them a little bit more play. And I find that things go together a little bit easier. And like I say, you don't have to use plastic glue with these miniatures. You can use super glue, of course, or you can use no glue at all. But I do think it's worth gluing them, especially if you're going to paint them, because sometimes joints are a little bit loose, sometimes bits can fall off. It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. Particularly with heads and things, if they're just a peg going into a hole. And sometimes arms can have a bit of sort of freedom of movement. Speaking of arms, I'm cutting out the arm now. So again, getting close to the gun and being careful not to actually snip off any bits of the gun itself. There's a very, very close join just in there, which is quite difficult to get into with the clippers. And what I haven't done at this point, I haven't trimmed any mould lines or anything. The mould lines are pretty minimal on these miniatures anyway, but you can, if you want to, use a knife or a mould line remover just to clean up these a little bit. So we're looking for the last component, because it's actually only a four component miniature, 5 if you include the base, obviously. And here we go. So we're just going to get the backpack out. Now you'll notice the connectors for the backpack actually sort of fit between 2 little spikes on each side of the backpack. Games Workshop do that quite a lot, where the connector is in a slightly difficult place to reach. And you'll see that when I clip it out, because of those spikes, I wasn't able to get right in and get a clean cut. So that's a point where you do want to actually get a knife and just or a mould line remover and just get in there and clean that out a little bit. And when you do that, you end up with that. So literally, I just got in there with a knife and just scratched out a little bit of the excess plastic that I wasn't able to clip off with the clippers, with the side cutters. And we are now ready to do the final part of the assembly. So again, I'm going to put some glue in the hole on the back of the backpack. Just a small drop. And then that will push straight onto the back of the miniature. On we go. Clunk, click. Again, you'll see there's not really any evidence of a join. It goes together incredibly well. And finally we have the arm. What's this thing called? A bile belcher or a grot lobber? I can't remember what the weapon's called. It's got some ridiculous name, which makes me laugh every time I read it. Bile launcher. I want to say bile launcher. I don't know. Maybe a belcher. But anyway, on it goes. And there you go. That is a fully assembled, easy build Death Guard miniature. We're just going to stick the base on. The base is a slotter base on these ones because obviously being easy build miniatures, they have to have slotter bases because you can't attach a miniature to a base without a slotter unless you use glue. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on the flat part of the feet, and then the slotter clicks straight in, and that's it. Job done. Job's a good one. There we go. One fantastic Death Guard miniature ready to join the battle. And I mean, how long's this video been? It's not even 10 minutes. And that's a fully assembled miniature. In obviously the green plastic means he's ready to go. And these are, like I say, these are the miniatures you get in First Strike box set, and they are also from Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. I hope you have found this video useful and it's shown you how easy it is to do this sort of thing. Bye bye everyone.